Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Kill Count, and tonight, well, hope you're ready to play, because we got ourselves Bones from 2001. Yeah, basically, this is where Snoop Dogg becomes a little undead gangster. Well, not little, but you'll understand once we get in there. So, how about we take a look back at Snoop Dogg's first villain role in Bones. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go! Sorry.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Bones, released in 2001. Real fast before we begin though, I want to let you know that our merch store has new and redone designs that Chelsea's spent a lot of time making, including Let's Get to the Kills, aw that's nice, and Business! Check them out at deadmeatstore.com and get them now, you know, if you want. Starring Snoop Dogg as Gangster Jimmy Bones, who haunts and kills people from beyond the grave, Bones was directed by Ernest Dickerson, who began his career as Spike Lee's cinematographer, shooting classics such as Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, and Malcolm X. His directing career began with Juice, which starred Tupac, and has continued into television with episodes of The Wire, Dexter, The Walking Dead, and The Purge. Dickerson directed Bones like a 70s blaxploitation film. And since I don't have the time or qualifications to talk about what that means, I highly recommend you check out the very good documentary Horror Noir on Shudder. It's a great look at the history of black filmmaking and representation in the horror genre, and it features interviews with lots of horror legends, including Tony Todd, Keith David, and Ernest Dickerson himself. And Miguel A. Nunez, who struggled with enchiladas back in Friday 5.
Damn enchiladas!
Bones is an interesting movie that defies cliche archetypes, even as it leans into stereotypes in fitting with its exploitation style. It's loaded with social commentary, from the effects of drugs on inner-city neighborhoods to the things individuals do to escape poverty, yet is also willing to get goofy sometimes, especially in its third act when the supernatural stuff goes wild. I love the bizarre style Dickerson goes for, mixing elements of old Universal monster movies, 70s Italian horror films, and even early German expressionist cinema. I'm also a fan of the unsettling practical effects, which were a big priority of Dickerson's.
No, I was kind of like anti-CGI at that point, and I still think, you know, some of the older ways are some of the better ways.
With that kind of attitude, you know we've got some good kills ahead. Let's take a look at them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real, like, I always do enjoy a good practical effect. To think people are able to make that so realistic. But, like he said, there are some things you can do practically, but not all of them. I think we can all agree on that. You know, like, if you could do it, go practically. If not, yeah, go ahead digitally. But make sure it looks realistic and you get some good software. Then you're good to go. But I think most people decide to go with cost-effective CGI, which is kind of sad when you think of it like that. Anyway, we'll just hop in with Bones. Let's go. See how many people Snoop killed.
The movie begins with a spooky house on Desolation Row, a bad part of town where this guy named Shotgun is currently being chased by a demon dog. He gets inside and shoots at the pup, though using a rifle and not his namesake gun. But the good boy just absorbs the bullet like it was nothing but a G-thing. Nearby, two dudes named Jason and Palmer roll up listening to Eminem and looking to buy some drugs. After paying for the product, they're sent to a pickup spot at the spooky house, where the narcotics are hidden behind a loose brick. A cop car shows up, so the dudes run inside the house and hide upstairs until the police officers leave. On their way out, they're attacked and bitten by that demon dog, then scared off by a crazy projection of Snoop's spirit. The trippy visuals chase them down the stairs and out the house, but since they don't leave the porch, they're still in the danger zone. Palmer is yanked back inside, where he dies from tearing noises and chunky blood sprays. Jason follows immediately, despite sacrificing his fingernails to stay out. We flash back to 19...
Yeah, let it be known. If you're running for a ghost, get out of the house, get off the land, otherwise you're screwed. But, and again, I probably just keep running to the car and then home, cause, well, I probably just also forget about the drugs, cause, let's be real, if you get bit by a demon dog and you see ghost, run for your life, screw the drugs, and I probably change my life around. Like I said, not a good place to be. Anyway.
1979, with Snoop Dogg filling our eyeballs and ear holes for this earthy tone title card. Snoop plays Jimmy Bones, a gentleman gangster who has that shotgun guy as his bodyguard. Jimmy runs numbers for everyone in the neighborhood. They all love him, especially Pearl, who's beautiful, and he just wants her to know she's his favorite girl. Pearl is played by Pam Grier, legendary actor of many blaxploitation films like Coffee and Foxy Brown, as well as Quentin Tarantino's most mature film, Jackie Brown. The opening credits show that Jimmy Bones ran a vibrant neighborhood full of happy, healthy people. These shots of efficient backstory were filmed on 8mm by Spanish cinematographer Flavio Laviano in order to evoke the earlier era they depict. I love the authentic retro feel it creates, and I love it even more when the imagery and sound design get creepy to show us that the neighborhood eventually fell apart. We get a kind of bonus title card before jumping back to present day when a van pulls up to the spooky house and empties its occupants. The house has just been purchased by entrepreneur Patrick Pete, played by Khalil Kane, who got his start in Dickerson's Juice. Despite the unwelcome porch engravings, Patrick sees potential here and wants to turn it into a nightclub with his brother Bill, even though their stepsister Tia just found a bloody mandible on the ground. Gross. Tia's played by Catherine Isabel, by the way, kill count veteran, last seen in the 2002 TV Carrie episode. Patrick mentions that this building was once owned by Jimmy Bones, which rings a bell for their friend Maurice, a self-styled gangster of love who's particular about his diet.
Gangster
of love don't eat no fried chicken.
Maurice says that Jimmy Bones was a legend around these parts, which unlocks a memory of Patrick's from deep within his brain of a time he would call Bones his Uncle Jimmy. The kids get to work on their building appraisal, and after avoiding the shadow hands from Don't Starve Together, Patrick finds and flicks on the furnace. That appears to awaken some kind of first-person roaming spirit, which zooms around the house until it lands in the basement and starts digging up some treasure that would fetch a pretty penny with the gold hoarders. Upstairs, Tia remains blank-faced as she finds the demon dog, which says woof motherfucker, woof motherfucker. Tia calms it down with a bite of burger and introduces it to the others as her new good boy.
I'm naming him Bones.
They come outside, where Shotgun reveals that he's not a fan of their new pet adoption, but not because it's his dog.
Is he yours, sir?
Hell no!
It just sounds like the dog is better off dead, or at least unfed.
Don't feed that dog!
Oh, what up, Pearl? Pearl still lives on Desolation Row and serves as the local psychic. Patrick tells her that they're about to be neighbors since he and brother Bill are gonna move into the Bones house as they renovate it. He admits that that means leaving the upscale suburb where his family currently lives.
You're a little dark to be growing up in Rossmore Park.
But he's happy to do it if it means getting to see more of Pearl's daughter Cynthia, played by Bianca Lawson, who, according to my research, did 3 episodes of Buffy. So don't say I never mentioned it, Scoobies. They head back to the Pete family home in safe and secure Rossmore Park, where they introduce Bones the dog to their parents. Tia's mom, Nancy, played by Linda Boyd, who was the mother of that ambiguously aged kid in Final Destination 2, and Patrick and Bill's dad, Jeremiah, played by Clifton Powell, who won an NAACP Image Award for his role in Ray. At the news of this dog named Bones, Jeremiah thinks back to a time he talked to this dog named Bones about some kind of business proposal. Patrick was there too, but he was just a baby boy.
We can move out of this dump, hit the big time, big houses, legitimate businesses, the works, baby.
That's your dream, not mine. I don't ever want to leave this street.
Bones was laid back, with his mind on his money and his money on his mind, but Jeremiah insisted that he meet with a corrupt police officer named Lupovich, who, in the beginning of the movie, had chased those drug purchasers into the Bones house, and who is currently talking to a gangster named Eddie Mack. Lupovich is played by Michael T. Weiss, and just like all the other actors, he played the character in both the present day and the past, which took place 20 years prior. To create a realistic age disparity, they left him looking like himself in the past and then aged him up in the present with makeup, adding pock marks and some weight to his face. Those effects were done by Barry Coper, who had perfected this art on Tim Allen in the Santa Claus. Like I said, Loopy Lou is corrupt, so he does some corrupt stuff, then some extra corrupt stuff, before taking his payment and leave. On his way out, Mac mentions that Jeremiah Pete sold the Bones house, which gives Lupovich some pushed-in concern. The Petes have a family.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but let's just say him and the house have a bit of a history. Yeah, like I said, you'd be surprised. Anyway, let's just get back to it, shall we?
Dinner, during which Patrick claims that the government is responsible for crack. His father shoots the theory down.
Stop poisoning your mind with that ghetto paranoia. That's all just the ways of people justifying their own failure.
Jeremiah claims that nobody gave him his success. He had to work for it, which is how he got out of Desolation Row.
Man has been lying to us for 100 years.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting for my 40 acres and a mule.
Personally, I don't need a mule. I've got myself a Lexus, and nobody gave it to me.
But you can't escape your past entirely, as evidenced when Jeremiah's old business acquaintance Lupovich shows up, calling him Jaybird and telling him he shouldn't have sold the Bones house.
That's a bozo no-no, Jaybird.
Jeremiah has no idea what he's talking about, though, because Patrick and Bill haven't mentioned that they quietly bought the building from his company. During the boys' moving day,
yeah, this is gonna bite him in the ass for everybody. As you know, Bones, nope, time to reap what they sow soon enough. Anyway, everyone's moving in.
Patrick talks to Cynthia about the City of the Dead, because her mom Pearl says the Bones house is a doorway to it. Pearl might know what she's talking about here. She is a psychic, after all, and was Jimmy's true love back in the 70s. Originally, there were a lot more scenes showing their relationship, but Bones was distributed by New Line Cinema, and they had just released the box office bomb Town and Country and the disaster of a Sandler film, Little Nicky. Fearing another flop, they took Bones away from Dickerson and recut it to their liking. Part of that involved removing a lot of the Pearl and Jimmy scenes.
I think we tried to deliver more than an exploitation film for the studio, but the studio really just wanted an exploitation film. And so it was recut by the studio.
You can tell Dickerson laments losing final cut of his movie, and in the end, New Line's efforts didn't work. Bones didn't do well at the box office, which Dickerson credits to the studio only marketing the movie to black audiences in urban areas, even though Snoop had plenty of appeal to white suburban kids.
And the kids were coming out of the woodwork. All these little white kids were coming all over the place to get autographs of Snoop.
One day way back then, Pearl used her powers to predict that Jimmy was in danger of dying, as evidenced by a line she saw in his palm.
Must be my clothesline.
Yeah, maybe if your clothesline is death row attire. Oh, wait, it might be though. Pearl begs him not to go to the Lupovich meeting, but he dismisses her as he kisses her. It's a real shame that a lot of Pearl and Jimmy's scenes were cut, because Pam Grier said she loved working with Snoop.
It was great.
And Snoop? Well, la-da-da-da-da. The motherfucking VO-double-G enjoyed it too.
And after I said cut, he just had this little blush thing about him. And I said, man, are you blushing? And he said, man, I grew up dreaming about this woman. You know, now I get to kiss her.
In the present, Pearl longs to kiss that dead dog once more. But if she'd settle for kissing a picture, well, at least he'll fuck her up for her. Mwah. On their first night in the Bones house, Bill listens to Cypress Hill while lying on his throne of a bed. He doesn't notice when his walls give way to a stack of sticky people from the City of the Dead. This effect is sticky hands down my favorite in the movie, and it was accomplished by talented FX artists like Ariel Shaw and Tony Gardner, whose work I've mentioned several times on this channel, and who I always like to remind people played himself in Seed of Chucky, where the killer doll decapitated him. To create the Wall of Necropolis citizens, they built a 2-story frame full of sculpted animatronics, puppets on rods, and empty spaces for human performers. These actors, many of them mimes, were airbrushed, given prosthetics to wear, and covered in slime, which gave them their tar-like sticky appearance as they writhed around. Some of them were on scaffolding, others were basically right on top of each other, and all of them succeeded in making this a standout effect. And for the shot where Bill's bedroom gives way to reveal the Necropolians, they used a theater technique so they could avoid CGI. The bedroom wall was a theatrical scrim with a bright light shining on it from the front. When that light was turned off, it revealed the City of the Dead wall behind it. Just another ingenious way this movie stuck to using as many practical effects as possible. The dead citizens begin to break free so they can say hello to Bill. And though they're all hands in on creeping this poor dude out, they disappear as soon as he opens his eyes. So I guess he's gonna miss out on seeing spooky shit for a while. Never mind, ceiling face! Wait, ceiling face, right? No ceiling face? Okay, I guess it was nothing. The next day, as Patrick and his pals begin to fix up the house, they find a blood-looking liquid seeping up out of the floorboards.
Just don't lick it.
They might have Poltergeist living there, trying to make them leave.
Have
They follow
accesses.
the dripping blood and the eager dog Bones to a door in the basement with a padlock on it. But it's no match for these veggie-eating strong boys.
Eat that spinach, boy.
They walk down to what looks like Pennywise's spider lair, and Bones the dog digs up Bones' bones. Maurice says that the skeleton, which looks like it was buried along with some fabric, must be Jimmy Bones. After all, his legend includes a switchblade and a diamond ring, which, let's see, check and check. Yep, that's him. Ooh, evidence. By the way, I know that's a butterfly knife, not a switchblade. But the movie calls it a switchblade, so don't even with the comments, all right? Tia wants to call the police, but the boys are more wary of dealing with them and say they'll leave the bones there as they focus on getting the nightclub open. Hey, Cynthia, does that sound okay to you and your new corner ghost friend?
Yeah.
Good. Before they go, Maurice breaks him off some Bones Blade. As Bones the dog eats his dinner, the meat consumption somehow begins to rejuvenate Bones' body via some awesome effects. Meanwhile, Patrick and Cynthia have got some other meat and bones on their mind. Cynthia gets spooked by the mise-en-scene and stops before they go all the way. So Patrick gives her his bed to stay in as he sleeps elsewhere in the house. Down the street, Pearl has a seance in her shop as Cynthia gets an under-the-covers visit from a ghoulish, gropey ghost. The seance gets more intense for Pearl, matching the ghost's increased aggression, until all of a sudden we've got spinning cameras, flashbacks, and I don't know exactly, but it's like this and like that and like this and Since no mother wants their daughter swimming around in blood beds, Pearl comes over to the Bones house and takes Cynthia home. The next day, with the hanging of a sign, the boys are ready to open their nightclub, which, I mean, they're missing an opportunity by not calling it the Boneyard. For the evil-looking Bones house, which is a great horror movie house, production designer Douglas Higgins and director Ernest Dickerson designed something based on the work of Philadelphian architect Frank Furness. It took them 5 weeks to build the facade of the house, which was then erected in a lower-income neighborhood of Vancouver, where the film was shot. Interior shots of the house, however, were filmed on a soundstage where the crew could take their time making it look worn with age. Hoping to make his dad proud, Patrick takes Jeremiah to the old Bones house and shows him what he's been working on.
But I couldn't wait to see your face when you saw how I fixed it up.
Jeremiah instead berates Patrick in public, telling him they need to leave this neighborhood in the past. Patrick insists on having his opening tonight though, and thankfully, Jeremiah comes around to supporting him.
You shut it down and you sell this fucker!
Oh, wait, never mind. Jeremiah hates this place, and the ghosts of his past he sees all around him. They remind him of a time when he lived on these streets, and arranged a business meeting for Jimmy with gangster Eddie Mack and corrupt cop Lupovich.
What it is, homeboy.
What it will be.
They try to convince Bones to change his business from gambling to drugs. It'll mean higher profit margins and a more dependable customer base. You know, because of dependence. But Bones cares about the well-being of his community and doesn't want to sell out his neighbors for higher profits. He's a nice dude with some nice dreams.
Me and Mars, we cool as a motherfucking icicle in the freezer.
That's one of the things I love about this movie. The gray morality of Jimmy Bones. Co-writer Adam Simon grew up watching Universal monsters who were victims as much as they were villains, and wrote Jimmy Bones in a similar vein, which was also in line with many blaxploitation characters who were often criminals but not as evil as some of the other figures surrounding them. Snoop himself was thrilled to play the character.
Jimmy Bones is the lord of his neighborhood. He services everybody, the poor, the rich. You know, he runs numbers and he sells dreams all day.
And was reportedly a great guy to work with on set.
That's one person you'll never have to worry about. Snoop will be there on time, and he'll be present. He'll know what he's doing. Working with Snoop was a dream.
Jeremiah Jaybird tries to plead with Bones to reconsider as Eddie Mack and Lupovich become way more aggressive. They call it the Vapors. Speaking of Vapors, they force Jimmy to smoke their crack. And since that'll really do a number on you, he fails in his attack against Lupovich with his knife. The cop opens fire on Jimmy as Pearl walks into the room, and she witnesses them shoot Jimmy a whole bunch, which gets blood all over Lupovich. He demands that everyone in the room incriminate themselves as to prevent any snitching, and Eddie Mack eagerly jumps aboard the plan.
What it is, homeboy.
But it will be, nigga.
Jeremiah is a bit more reluctant, but doesn't let it get in the way of his dreams.
Like you said, Jimmy, every man for himself, baby.
He stabs Bones out of pure self-interest, and after Bones says pooey to that, they make his bodyguard Shotgun get in on the stabbing too. Pearl is last up to bat, and when she says she doesn't want to, Bones up and does it for her, delivering himself the final fatal stab. Pearl cries over her dead love as his fuchsia spirit leaves his body. Little whoa. They rip off Pearl's green dress to bury Bones in, and she's left caressing his blood as the audience goes on a sinkhole trip to the city of the dead. Big wow! It's opening night for the Boneyard, I'm gonna call it, the mustiest hotspot in the hood. It's the perfect place to wear leather, flirt, and be young and wild and free. Cowboy Maurice is DJing with his Bones ring, which Bones the dog don't like one bit. The dog turns into a sexy woman, okay, who catches Maurice's eye with some sensual seduction. Oh, she gonna get hers. Maurice leaves Bill DJing as he follows the mystery woman upstairs, hoping he'll get to slip out of that camouflage flight suit. But the sexy lady turns back into a dog that attacks Maurice and mangles him. Maurice meat, it's what's for dinner. As the dog consumes, more muscle is added to the corpse in the cellar. And I can't get enough of these reverse melting effects. It's some serious Hellraiser type shit. I love it. These rejuvenation effects, which are among my favorite in the movie, were accomplished by taking a body cast of Snoop Dogg, made in his garage no less, then using the mold to create 3 versions of Bones' body in different states of reconstruction. Various layers of skin and muscle made of wax were put atop the bodies, then melted with a heat gun. That footage was played in reverse to give us the great-looking final effect. Patrick comes upstairs to find Maurice, and find him he does, dead and bloody. That must be the worst thing Patrick's ever seen.
The gangster in love don't eat no fried chicken.
I stand corrected. Things get even worse though, when the dog chases Patrick out to the hallway and god, barfs a bunch of maggots all over Patrick? Holy shit, that's no, stop, please. Oh god, dude, get him out of your mouth. Oh fuck, man, that's a bad dog. That's a bad, he gone. Bones the dog was played by a good boy doggy actor named Primo, a German shepherd. They dyed black to get the look they wanted. For many shots though, they used animatronic and puppet versions of the pup to accomplish attacks and biting and whatnot. For the maggot spray, which Dickerson said was the grossest thing he could think of, they shot grub worms and orzo out of air cannons inside of and next to the mechanical dog.
And it just really just right at Khalil. And
that's how gross.
And he was a good
Hear me laughing with this.
With Bones the dog ready to snoop-a-doop, its spirit, or whatever, goes back into Jimmy's body, which has finally been made whole again. Plenty solid enough to grab butterfly knives. The Boneyard turns into Tan's Academy in a hurry, with maggots dripping all over people. And their food, oh god,
again,
fucking
no
gross. By the way, I wrote that Tan's Academy joke before I did all my rewrite research, where I learned this was, in fact, an intentional reference.
A lot of it was inspired from Suspiria, Argento Suspiria, where the girls.
Don't worry, I'll cover that movie when I can.
School and the maggots are dropping from the ceilings and everything, and we just decided to take it to a whole nother level.
I love Dickerson's love of the genre, man. I also love watching the crew toss rice and worms at all the extras. Chaos erupts as the newly resurrected Jimmy Bones sets off a fireball that clears out the club. No deaths that I can see here as the nightclubbers go wild, and nothing to count when Bones throws his knife at Patrick and Cynthia since they avoid it. Love that they filmed that using a giant spinning knife in front of the camera. Literally everyone was devoted to using as many practical effects as possible, from director Dickerson to co-writer Simon.
The intention in my mind from the get-go on the page, and I believe the intention for Ernest, was to make the effects real and on set.
Simon, who came up under Roger Corman, had previously co-written and directed Brain Dead and Carnosaur, and helped get Snoop Dogg involved with Bones even before Dickerson signed on to direct. Bones heads upstairs in his burning home in the movie's one and only shot where Snoop wasn't high when they filmed it. Dickerson asked him to stay sober just this once, since it involved real fire on set.
And I just said, you know, let's do that first.
But
and then you can,
come on, dude,
you can blunt up for the rest of the day. But for safety's sake and for insurance sake, it'd be better if you just walk up the staircase,
so
not high. And he was cool with that.
But before...
Yeah, to be fair, I probably would worry about that too. Like, seriously. If you got someone that's known to either be constantly drunk, stoned, whatever, you'd probably be like, look, dude, I know you want to do that, but right now we got a fire stunt that you're a part of, so put it down. We'll do it later, okay? You can put it down, just do the stunt, you can blow it back up, okay? Just saying. Gotta make sure they're at the top of the game, otherwise, well, that's a lawsuit and, well, an accident waiting to happen. Ugh. Anyway, Jimmy's about to get his ring back.
Jimmy can take his new body out for a spin. He's got to reclaim his stolen accessories. Properly suited and booted, Bones is ready to pay a visit to Shotgun, who's drinking away his guilt from having jumped in on Bones' stabbing back in the day.
Again,
Bones appears in his new kick-ass outfit and prepares to butcher the bodyguard because he doesn't forgive him for what he did. He slits Shotgun's throat and sings Swing Low, Sweet Chariot to him as he bleeds out on the floor. Bones walks along the street, reminiscing about the neighborhood's much less squalid condition back when he was the place's dog father. 2 decades of drugs have ravished this place.
That's what this movie depicts. It shows that over a 20-year period, how crack deteriorated the black community and just erased everything that we had values for in the 70s.
Since he's back to avenge his community, it's bad timing when Stank and Wheeze, the 2 drug dealers from the beginning, step out and harass him. Bones just ain't having their shit. All of a sudden, Snoop's upside their head with a slash and a, what the hell is that? Some cartoon figure splatter outlines? Okay.
Yeah,
Pearl reveals to Cynthia that Jimmy Bones is her father, which makes sense story-wise, but what was with that time he was ghost groping?
Yeah, what the hell, Jimmy?
No good. Later on, Pearl looks at foreboding tarot cards when her lights go out and she's visited by System of a Down's debut album cover. After Cynthia walks in and scares the hand away, another kind of don't starve moment, Pearl says that she thinks Bones is coming to kill them all. Her, Jeremiah, his kids, and Eddie Mack, who's currently making out with his girlfriend Snowflake. Snowflake leaves him to go take a pee, and when she doesn't come back, he goes to look for her, only to slip on a bunch of blood.
Yeah,
it turns out Snowflake's been gutted like a pig, with her body stuffed in a trash can. Eddie Mack arms himself and yells out threats to the unseen assailant.
You want to be froggy?
But ain't no Terry's up in here. It's just Bones, dragging a knife across the pool table and making it bleed? That's pretty cool. The gangster ghost stares solemnly at Eddie Mack and takes a bunch of bullets like they're nothing, because they aren't to him. He's a ghost. He gets supernatural with a bunch of broken mirror shards that then impale Eddie Mack against the wall. Bones walks up to Big Bad Mac Attack and ultimately kills him with a throat slit. Actually, turns out Bones decapitated Eddie and he can still talk as a severed head.
What you need with my hand?
I'm just using it to carry your soul, sucker.
My soul? Fuck you.
But I'm still counting him as dead right now. I mean, shit, even he admits he was killed.
I killed you, you killed me, we're even.
The third act's sharp veer into silly comedy can be a little off-putting for some, but Dickerson says it happened naturally because of the cast. Actor Ricky Harris, for instance, was a stand-up comedian who had worked with Snoop Dogg doing voices and skits on some of his albums. He also co-starred in the music video for Doggy Dog World, which happened to feature Pam Grier as well. Ricky Harris sadly passed away from a heart attack in 2016 at the age of 54.
R.I.P. Ricky.
Lupovich goes to drop off some drugs for Eddie Mack, only to find himself face to face with a severed head's face.
Oh yeah, you better be scared.
Bones drops the act and forces Lupovich to try his own product, mirroring his forced drugging from all those years ago. He then seals Lupovich's mouth shut and hangs him on a chain, then kills the corrupt cop by cutting him open to let the smoke out. The next person to get a visit from the ghost of Bonesy past is Jeremiah.
What it is and what it will be.
Bones is mad at the former Jaybird for being such a hypocrite. After all, Jeremiah had told his sons he pulled himself up from his bootstraps to get where he is, when in actuality, he sold his community out to drugs and stepped on other people's necks to live out his dreams in the suburbs. Jeremiah's gone by time Pearl and the kids come to help him, but they quickly guess he's been taken to the burnt-down Bones house on Desolation Row. Inside, Jimmy introduces the severed heads and Jeremiah to the wall Hall of the Dead. After calling Lupovich and Eddie Mac idiots, Bones feeds their heads to the spirits, one after the other. Patrick and the others get to the Bones house, and yeah, sure looks like Snoop's somewhere around here. They see that Jimmy Skelly is missing from the celly, and Pearl says they need to find and burn her old dress that Bones was buried in, because his blood in the fabric is what's allowing him to be resurrected. Better get a move on with that plan, y'all, because Bones is dunking Jeremiah in and out of the souls inside the scary sticky wall, inside which Lupovich is intentionally made up to look like Ash in Army of Darkness. Love all these makeup effects. They remind me of Society.
It's a trip, ain't it?
It is, Snoop. But Bones ain't joking about Jaybird's betrayal, and he condemns Jeremiah to the city of the dead by tossing him through entirely.
Dog eat dog, brother.
Dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog.
An elevator appears in the cellar, and after Pearl gets inside, the gate closes and she's taken away from the others. Taken where? All the way up. First stop, the candle floor, site of the future wax floor. Coming soon. Bones appears behind Pearl and supernaturally puts her in her old dress, transforming her appearance back in time. Bones kisses on her and asks her to stay with him in eternity, as elsewhere, Bill punches his way through a pink fleshy barrier that allows him, Cynthia, and Patrick to step into the city of the dead. This is the city of the dead, right, Cynthia?
This is the city of the dead.
Good. I've been calling it that this whole time. Wouldn't want to look like an idiot. The city of the dead is like a mirror dimension of ours, and to create this organic look of the Bones house in Necropolis, they sprayed pink foam plastic everywhere and filled it with lots of smoke. The kids make their way through the city of the dead's confusing layout. Someone needs to have an infrastructure week, until a ghostly Maurice appears and beckons Bill to come with him. It ends up being a trap, and Bill is seized and murdered by the hands inside the wall of the city of the dead. At least, I'm pretty sure he's dead. One more confirmation, Sin?
He's gone.
Thank ya. Patrick and Cynthia find her parents embracing each other, surrounded by candles. And, eager for some long-lost daddy-daughter time, Cynthia approaches her father's 6'4" frame and gives him a hug. Aw, that's nice. Patrick sees his dad inside a portrait of the dead, and Jeremiah demands that his son get him out of there. Patrick's unable to offer a hand, though, so he cuts off his father's to get away. With Patrick still around, interrupting family time, Bones disappears from his daughter hug to try to take care of this intruder once and for all.
Surprise, nigga.
As Cynthia screams, Patrick stabs the dead dog, but he's still spun around in a web of spirits, making him look like Cabal just ran past him or something. Pearl realizes what she must do, and with one last declaration of her love for Jimmy Bones, she sets herself on fire with a candle. It burns her old dress, which had been keeping Bones alive, and the two of them burn together in each other's embrace. Patrick and Cynthia flee the shaking necropolis, then duck and cover as the house is exorcised of its demons. When it's all said and done, with the morning light shining through, things don't look all that bad. Great, they made it. Or did they? Because that picture's still moving, and we've got maggots in the mouth. Spit those out, Cynthia. There you go. How many people did Jimmy reduce to skull and crossbones? Let's find out at the numbers. 13 people died in Bones, with 11 male deaths and only 2 female deaths. This Bone chart's a blue boy for the most part. With a runtime of 97 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 7.46 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Jeremiah, basically as a stand for how much I love the dead wallflowers who killed it. Couldn't get enough of those effects, seriously. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to Snowflake, who was found legs up in a trash can. And that's it. Bones came out in 2001
silhouettes for the just awful effects.
Critically or at the box office. Shame. It's a lot more fun than Wrong Turn 6, which I'll look at on Friday. Until then, though, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching.
I will be... Man, I got a lot to catch up on, don't I? I'll see what I can do and see if I can get them right, you know? What can you do? Just gotta find the times to get back in there. Not sure where to go from here, but I'll figure something out. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe for more. See ya.